so much for joining me today. This is Kim with Card Making Blonde, and I'm here to share with you the stamp set from SFL called Reindeer Games. You'll see me stamping that image down in Gina K's amalgam ink and getting it on the paper. This is my very first YouTube video, and I'm super excited to be part of this Christmas card making series. As I go through and talk about the coloring, and as I'm coloring the images, I do my best to try to remember to put down the caps so that you can see the Copic colors that I use. Another thing you'll notice here is I've got a scratch piece of paper underneath the images, and the reason I have that is a couple of reasons. As I'm blending the images, as I'm blending the inks on the image, and the paper gets saturated, having that extra sheet of paper underneath, the alcohol ink will go down into the paper instead of out into my image. So that has really helped me. The other thing is oftentimes I'm picking colors that I think I want to use, either by the numbers or just by looking at them. And I want to make sure before I actually start putting them down that they're going to blend the way I think they will. So that's another reason I try to leave myself like a little palette to the side, something for me to play with. So when it comes to coloring, I have tried very many things over the years, and I know a lot of people choose a light source, and I think that is very smart, but unfortunately for me, I get so wrapped up in my coloring that I will forget that I chose a light source at all. And I have done it so often that now I work in small sections. So I learned that from Kathy Rakusin. I just go section by section, and like for example underneath his hat, in my mind there would be a shadow there, so that's where I put a dark color, and that has helped me a lot. You'll also notice that when I'm coloring a face, I start with the cheeks, and I got that tip from Amy R. years ago. And the reason for that is if I lay down the cheek color first and then I put down the rest of the face and I'm blending it out, by the time I finish blending the face out and I'm done with it, the cheeks are just this nice rosy color. They're not too harsh. They really do look just like a happy blush. So as I'm finishing up the coloring of this guy's little face, you'll notice that I color right over his eyeballs. I used to stress and try to not color in the whites of their eyes, and that was until I was introduced to a white Signo gel pen, which you'll see me pull out in just a second. So I just pull out that white pen and I will warm it up on the tip of my finger, and then I will dot his little eyes, and they're nice and bright and white again. And so one less thing to think about while I'm coloring. So on the Christmas tree, you'll see I really do the section by section religiously, because that makes a lot of sense to me, and it helps me know where to lay down the color. So often I'm trying to just show that there's blending going on at all. And now when it comes to these little tiny images, like the light strings that the penguin is holding, I just want to put the color down so that I don't really even worry about blending color there. I just want the colors to be represented. A friend of mine calls this kindergarten coloring, and I'm a huge fan of that as well. So in a pinch, then that's what I'll do. And sometimes you don't feel like blending, so that's perfectly fine as well. So these images are perfect for making a card. They would be great for making a tag. I didn't have the time to do both. So these little images, I had thought about fussy cutting them out, and then I decided that I did want them cut out individually, but I used my brother's Scan and Cut to do that for me, because I knew there was no way I was going to get around that string of lights, and I didn't want to lose the string. So that's what I did. Here you'll see me choosing some paper that I want to use, and this comes from last October's collection, Flavor of the Month October 2019. The papers in this I loved. A friend of mine gave me that sketchbook, made that sketchbook for me, I should say, and it's a collection of Operation Right Home sketches. So I chose one from there. Rather quickly, I realize now, but it will make a return. Once I get the card put together, I'll show them side by side so that you can see the how the card looks and then the sketch that it went with. So here I am just cutting everything down, and then you'll see me use an ATG gun to glue it all down. If it's just the basics of the card, and I know what I'm doing and I know how I'm layering it, you know, like you typically do when you follow a sketch, then oftentimes I will use my ATG gun. When I put the characters down, you'll see me switch over to liquid glue so that I've got just a little more time in case I want to move things around. Another thing that you'll see me do is I have learned the hard way to not glue my images down until I get my sentiment on. So you'll see me kind of lay everybody out and know how I want them to go before I glue anything down. I will still put my sentiment down. And another quick tip that another friend taught me is after you get everything laid down, take a quick picture of it. And then that's a good way to, not later on be like, what on earth did I want to do with these guys? So I stamp in VersaFine ink and get that down, and then I will show you side by side on the book what they look like. And I'm so excited that you guys joined me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm learning as I go. I realized that a lot of times when I was coloring, my hand was over it, so I will definitely work on that. But please feel free to leave your comments. And again, thank you so much for joining. Here you'll see me putting the card together. And then as soon as I get the card together, I show it, and I'll show the sketch that I used. And then here is probably one of my favorite parts. I love coloring, but I love adding on the finishing details, just those little things. You'll see me use an aqua, I believe it's called the Nuvo Aqua Glimmer Pen, Aqua Shimmer Pen. And I hit the light bulbs and the reindeer's nose. I want to bling everything up, but I use some restraint, and I just do the ornaments and the star. And then after I get some bling added, I actually come back with Nuvo Crystal Glaze. You can also use glossy accents, but I add those to the star and his nose. If I'm ever working on larger faces, sometimes I'll add it to the eyes, just because like in real life our eyes are glossy. So you'll see me add the crystal glaze in a little bit. And I believe it was I think it was while I was doing this that I realized I forgot to color that little bitty part that connects the light bulbs to the string. So you see me just pop in with a green marker out of nowhere. So there's always something. There's always something. Usually it's, someone's mouth or a whole leg. There's always something. But typically I usually catch it before I give the card away. So here's the crystal glaze. And so then I'll let that dry. And I think here's where I'll show you, I'll put the card on top of the book to show you the sketch side by side. Oh, that little guy came in the kit as well. And I used my multi-matte medium to stick him down. He just seemed perfect. Looks like they're playing with toys at Christmas. I love these images. I think they're just very sweet. And so that's my card. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great day.